Hi, travelers. Tara here, Hidden Lotus Tarot, and today is August 25th, 2016. I don't know about you, but I'm just astounded that August is pretty much gone. We are between eclipses. The last two eclipses of 2016 will be occurring on September 1st and September 16th, respectively. I'm going to do this spread here. I just cracked open my brand new Sibila deck and was kind of shuffling through it and just decided to lay a spread. So that's why the cards are here. But when I saw it, I thought it was a pretty interesting message. So this is going to constitute the experimentals. I think this is going to be either number 9 or number 10. And then after I finish this, I'm going to come back and we're going to do a eclipse reading for September 1st. I think that's going to be a solar eclipse. And then I got to get started on the monthlies. So just kind of bear with me. I got a lot of things going on. So, but this is a 9-card Sibila spread. It's a different, the other ones had the blue back. This has the gold and yellow back or whatever. But what I'm looking at, there are 9 cards here. And I have the Casa, the Gran Signore, the Bambino, il Dileranti, the Conversation, the Consolante Sorpresa, the Comforting Surprise, Viaggio, Mercante, L'Allegria, and the Donna de Servizio. This spread is a distinctly male spread. Even with the house being represented, because the house represents security and stability. And that is supposed to be a male characteristics, or we ascribe to a male type of thing. Right in the center, I have the Conversation. And it touches every card in the spread. So there are, I think, conversations going on, conversations perhaps that need to be had, discussions. And for me, this is encompassing several areas of a particular man's life. Now, I'm not going to subscribe any type of zodiac sign or any kind of astrological sign or suit of cards, like if it's the King of Hearts or blah blah this, which would represent like a Scorpio. I'm not going to ascribe any of that to this particular spread. This is just something in general. And the top row here, Casa Gran Signore Bambino. The Gran Signore is a man of high society, or he's the lord of the manor, or he's someone who's in charge, or someone who has a commanding presence. This is somebody who is sure and confident in his choices and his decisions and the direction of his life. And what these 3 cards are saying to me with the Bambino, it could mean a birth, literal birth of a child, or it could mean the birth of a project. But to me, this reads as though this is someone coming into some type of new stability or new security. This could be not only in terms of his home life, but simply as someone coming into stepping into themselves, so to speak. Now, the next row, the Dileranti, the Conversation, and the Consolante Sorpresa. The Dileranti can speak to stupid actions, but also foolish behavior. And there seems to be some sort of either stupid action or foolish behavior surrounding conversation, or conversation that needs to be had. But it's like there's a comforting surprise in this. So in one respect, I sometimes look at the Dileranti as saying that someone, it could be being joyously or deliriously happy, or pleasantly but happily and deliriously surprised through some type of conversation that's been had. Now, this conversation, if we look at the card itself are people sitting face to face, okay? So But to me, it could also be, because it's in the present, it could also be perhaps, and it touches this, that there is a distance between some people who need to have a conversation here. Um, but nevertheless, this is a necessary dialogue. Let's put it that way. And here at the bottom, I have viaggio. This is a vacation, a transfer, a move, a trip. It could represent a visit. Here we have the mercante. This card is about contracts, agreements, negotiations. And then I have the alegria. This is family. This is represents the family and friends, or pastimes or hobbies with family and or friends. But the general message of the spread is that there is something new. There's a new birth of some kind of stability, or projects that have come in for this Gran Signore. He sits at the head. And either he's a little unbalanced in terms of what needs to be said to move a situation forward, or maybe he himself has received some news through a conversation that has, kind of pleasantly surprised him. Now, this in one sense is related perhaps to a work endeavor, because I do have the viaggio, the mercante. We know that it speaks to a vacation, a transfer, or a move. We know that this is about contracts. So maybe this has been conversations in terms of his business. Maybe this line here, the casa de delirante, the viaggio, says that maybe he went on a trip, and this is the past. So maybe he left his home and he went on a business trip or something, and perhaps things didn't go as well as planned, or he didn't quite foresee all of the events. Maybe it was a wrong time to do so. But because I have these cards, this card of the alegria here, this is definitely something that's being weighed up, that's going to have an outcome on the family, or his idea of family. This is either someone considering making a move or a transfer and discussing it with family, perhaps trying to get their opinion or receive their advice on what they should do. But at the same time, it also speaks to something occurring in the past, which kind of it's going to change. This is about a change coming for this Gran Signore. Here again, we're going from the Gran Signore to the conversation to the mercante. So there are real world practical considerations in whatever this change is that he's considering. Here I have the bambino, the consolante sorpresa, the allegria. Now, in one respect, this is, yes, it's a new, like, revelation or understanding, something that has pleasantly surprised him. Again, this could be work. I also kind of get the sense that it has to do with something romantic, because this line could also, it speaks to me somewhat of someone wanting to add a new addition to the family. Now, there are no women in this spread, and so I'm not looking at it as this is someone who is thinking about becoming a dad right now. But it does smack of someone who's thinking about settling down. So that is a possibility if this person has thinks they found someone that they might want to marry and they want to have children later on. So we can look at that possibility. But it could also be the possibility of someone wanting to add in other people into the family. So like a blended family situation. And I see here that there perhaps are some conversations going on with other family members and other friends. I met someone, I think I would like to, take it to the next level. I'm not exactly sure if I should. I'm not exactly sure what I should do. This person has children themselves. This is going to be a blended family situation, and trying to determine perhaps not only what friends are saying, but how close family members might feel about this particular thing, particularly if this man himself has children, which in one respect I could say that perhaps he does. He could be a single dad here. But nevertheless, I think this has come about through either a visit from someone or perhaps him going to visit someone, but it is also speaking of a transfer. So again, it could be that someone may be considering and a move. So it could be considering someone considering they're going to pack up and move to be near whatever this new thing is that has come in, or have that new thing come to where they are. And as we can see, it looks as though this last line here, the vacation, the transfer, the move. So this could be literally that someone has, two people have spent time together in the past, and someone's considering taking it to the next level. This is agreement, compromises, contracts, and perhaps trying to figure out how they're going to incorporate all of these new things together in one, to make it one cohesive, stable unit. Now, what has come up underneath the deck is La Donna de Servizio, and she is an action card. She represents help. She can represent housework. She can also represent someone running errands. So in a sense, it's kind of like the card is saying that maybe this person is or has or will be moving towards bringing someone in to help him with housework or errands, so to speak. But basically, that whatever this situation is encompassing, and I do feel that it is about both the work, practical, real world matters, and also personal, real world situations, that this consideration, this discussion, this thought is something that's going to be very positive. She's always extremely positive, Donna de Servizio, when she shows up. And looking at the cross here, to me, these cards speak of someone who perhaps has, again, been kind of knocked off guard a little bit. Perhaps they're second guessing, all of their emotions going on. Is this really the idea? Is this really, I feel so good about this, I'm deliriously happy, but is this really going to be the best thing for me? Here in the Mercante, someone really weighing up, I think, all of the pros and cons, but maybe coming to a resolution that, it's going to be satisfactory, perhaps surprisingly so. This could also be a consideration of him thinking, well, what about the other person if they move, about their family and their friends? Definitely, it's related to some type of trip or move or transfer in the past. This is the past row. So it definitely has to do with an event that has already occurred, that is bringing up some new questions in many aspects of this particular Gran Signore's life. So I hope that message helped you, and I'll see you back in a bit with the eclipse reading. Namaste.